floor is open to all items that are on this agenda today. Now, only items that are on this agenda today. At the end of the meeting, there will be time for comments for other items. At this point, it's only on items on the agenda today. So if there are any citizens that wish to make comments to items on the agenda today, I would ask that they come forward to the microphone, state your name and address for the minutes, direct your comments to City Council, not to the audience or staff, and please limit your comments to 3 minutes so others will have an opportunity to speak. All right, there are no public comments, so we will move on with the meeting. Item number 8 is old business, and we have no old business. Item number 9 is new business, and the first resolution is resolution number
08-12.
08-12. This is a resolution to support the 2011-2012 Lincoln Safe Routes to School Program grant application. Does the city administrator wish to address?
Yes, sir. Just to acknowledge that staff's been working extensively with community groups across the city to get this grant application. Planning staff has a report to make on the grant application to kind of help you understand what we're trying to do.
Basically, it's 100% grant. So that's no match on our part, which is a good thing. Not many grants like that. But in this case, they do require that you have a committee set up made of not only the city for the infrastructure portion of it, but of the county and the school body that we are discussing it. So based on that committee that we set up, which at the beginning included Dale Lynch, Mayor Britton from the county, as well as Mr. Cox representing the city, and then they assigned staff from that point. David Antrican, myself, Jeff Brennan have all been working on this to come up with a good plan, as well as Paul Brown and the school system. What it proposes is basically 3 crosswalks. There's already a lot of walkers at Lincoln, which is why the school was very interested in this project. So it proposes 3 crosswalks to make it a little safer for them to get across. It also proposes some sidewalk down Walnut Street, and then you see it proposed on Charles Street. We're going to go as far down Charles Street as money will allow us to do. The reason this particular school was chosen was because of the walkability. It has to be targeted between K through 8. A lot of the committee felt like an elementary school wasn't a good target because we wouldn't let our elementary school kids to walk. But because this includes a middle school and it's near a neighborhood, this was a very good candidate. We actually met with TDOT out on the site and showed us some crosswalk problems. We're going to get 3 crosswalks out of it. One being the most important, Lincoln School. There's a lot of issues there on how that traffic flows in and out and the way that they're holding the kids across the street. So we're hoping to make that a little safer for the children that are walking. Also at Jackson and Lincoln, we'll get a crosswalk, and at Walnut and Lincoln. And then hopefully as much of that sidewalk as we can possibly get. Is there any questions?
The sidewalks are just on Charles and Walnut.
Yeah, that's what we're proposing. Once you start breaking down that $200,000, because you have to do the environmental reviews and all that, it's about about 120 that goes on the ground in construction costs, which won't buy you a whole lot of sidewalk and a whole lot of crosswalks, but we have are trying to use the best of our ability to get as far as we can and to address the most safe issues out there so that we have a safe way to walk.
Are there any questions? This time, Chair will entertain a motion to adopt resolution 08-12 to support the 2011-2012 Lincoln Safe Routes to School Program grant application.
I'll make a motion.
We have a motion from Councilmember Jinks. Do we have a second?
I second that motion.
We have a second from Councilmember Garrett. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, please enter your vote. 4 yeas, no nays. Next item is item 9B. It's awarding bids contracts. This is an award lease agreement between Morristown Hamlet Emergency Medical Service and the City of Morristown to provide EMS with access to the state-of-the-art tower located at 1366 Pine Brook Road in Morristown. Would the city administrator like to comment on?
Yes, sir. This agreement, we'll let me back up and say that the fire service and the EMS service share a radio channel, and we use it alternately in case of the need of a backup. EMS needs to get on our tower to have adequate coverage. This will benefit both EMS and the fire service for the city. We would recommend that the lease be approved. I believe the city attorney has reviewed the agreement, and I don't believe we have any objections to the form.
I don't after the revisions were made, Mr. Price.
So based on that, we would recommend approval of the lease as presented.
I'll make that motion, but one thing I think that we've had a gain out of this is they have picked up some of the finance operation costs. That there is correct. That there is going to be a plus.
I think it's a win-win for everyone.
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion from Councilmember Jinks. Do we have a second? We have a second from Councilmember Bivens. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, please enter your vote. Four yeas, no nays. Okay, the bid is awarded. Next item is item number 2. It's to award a contract to Webster Environmental Associates Incorporated for odor control services to the city of Morristown and the Morristown wastewater treatment plant in the amount of $31,000 for the city administrator.
Yes, sir. You may recall several weeks ago, I guess months ago now, Mr. Dunn, our wastewater consultant, made a presentation to council and indicated that this might be something you would want to consider about odors at our wastewater treatment plant, the Turkey Creek plant. You know that we've had some concerns expressed by neighbors. This study will provide an analysis of where it's going, wind patterns, and what we might need to do to address some odor control issues. It is recommended by Mr. Dunn's office, and I would recommend also that we approve this contract and move forward and have a more detailed study of the issue.
Is there any questions of the city administrator? All right, hearing none, at this time, Chair will entertain a motion to award a contract to Webster Environmental Associates Incorporated for the odor control services to the city of Morristown at the Morristown wastewater treatment plant in the amount of $31,000. Do we have a motion? We have a motion by Councilmember Bivens. Do we have a second?
I'll second that motion.
We have a second by Councilmember Garrett. Is there any discussion? I will tell you, I called Lamar Dunn's office to find out a couple. One of the things I want to find out, I'm concerned that we're spending $31,000 for a study, but nothing at this point on updating the facilities, and I was somewhat apprehensive. After talking with Mr. Dunn, he explained to me that the way this will work is anything that comes up on this odor study will be used to determine what needs to be done at the facility. So at first I felt that this probably wasn't a wise move, that I'd rather have the money spent to work on the plant, but since the data that will come from this will help us to better update the plan, I feel that it's a good move. Just wanted to add that, Tony. All right. So that you would see how I studied it. Any other discussion? No other discussion? This time, would you please enter your vote? Four yeas, no nays. The bid is awarded. Next item is item number 3, to award design contract upgrades to Lamar Dunn and Associates in the amount of $55,000 for the Willow Springs pumping station and the Maid 1 pumping station. If environmental permitting applications are required, they will be provided on an hourly agreement with a budget of $15,000 for the city administrator.
This is another in an ongoing series of projects we're doing to invest in rehabbing our system. This project will eventually be paid for out of the bond issue we've recently approved and are seeking to go out to bids. These two pump stations do need to be put out to bid, but before we do that, we need to design the proposed contract to achieve that design, and I would recommend approval.
Are there any questions of the city administrator? Hearing none. At this point, Chair will entertain a motion to award design contract upgrades to Lamar Dunn and Associates in the amount of $55,000 for the Willow Springs pumping station and the Maid One pumping station. If environmental permitting applications are required, they will be provided by an hourly arrangement with a budget of $15,000. Do we have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion by Councilmember Garrett. Do we have a second? We have a second by Councilmember Bivens. Is there any discussion by council? Hearing none, please vote. Four yeas, no nays. Contract's awarded. Next item is item number 4. It's an award design contract to Lamar Dunn and Associates for Spring Creek rehabilitation projects for the total amount of $315,000, with the permitting for these projects not to exceed $35,000. Spring Creek rehabilitation project 1 would be $110,000. Rehabilitation project 2 would be $95,000, and rehabilitation project 3 would be $110,000. Would the city administrator care to expound?
This also is tied back to our big sewer projects. These are design of lines rather than pumps. These are part of our plan that will be financed from the bond issue. We recommend approval.
Are there any questions of the city administrator? Hearing none, at this time, Chair will entertain a motion to award design contract to Lamar Dunn and Associates for Spring Creek rehabilitation projects for a total of $315,000, with permitting for these projects not to exceed $35,000.
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion from Councilmember Garrett. Do we have a second? We have a second from Councilmember Bivens. Is there any discussion by council? Hearing none, please vote your votes. Four yeas, no nays, contract's awarded. Next item to come before council is the board commission appointments. At this time, Chair would entertain a motion to appoint Joe Urban to the Morristown Utility Commission for a 5-year term to expire on August the 1st, 2016. Do we hear a motion?
I move to reject the mayor's nomination to the Utility Commission Board.
All right, we have a motion by Councilmember Garrett to reject Joe Urban as a nomination for the Morristown Utility Commission. Is there, I'm sorry. Second by Councilmember Bivens. Is there any discussion? I remember how we're voting here. He's saying to reject, so I think I know how the vote's going to turn out, but I just want to make sure everybody understands. Okay, sorry. Yeah. So if you will, please enter your vote, please. 3 yeas, 1 nay. Motion. 9D is new issues, and this will be the police department promotion. At this time, Chief Overholt, just like Superman, right? Chief Overholt, will address council at this point on the promotion.
Yes, sir. Recent promotions that were made within the police department resulted in there being an opening in the investigations rank. You have in your packet the civil service eligibility roster, which can only consider the first 3 names on that roster. If you so went on prior to make recommendations on that roster.
So, move.
I would recommend that Ricky Sanders be promoted to the rank of investigator or detective, right?
I make a motion to accept the chief's recommendation.
We have a motion from Councilmember Jinks to accept the chief's recommendation. Is there a second?
I second that motion.
We have a second from Councilmember Garrett. Is there any discussion or questions for the chief? Hearing none, please enter your vote. Four yeas, no nays. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Thank you. At this time, council will convene as a beer board.
We have several violations that are going to be brought to us at this time, I believe, by Corporal Gary Bean. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Corporal Bean, you know we'll vote on each one of these individuals. Is that correct?
What's that?
We vote on each one of these individuals.
That is correct.
If you would like to explain to us, item number one.
Just preliminarily, I'll say that on November the 19th of 2011 was when this operation occurred. At these 5 different locations, there was a sale of beer to a person under the age of 21 at each location. The actual employee that was found to be in violation of the city ordinance was cited in the city court. Since that time, they have either pled guilty or paid their fines or been found guilty in city court of Washington. Those locations are in this chart that I provided. The first location is filing number 3, located at 1154 East Andrew Johnson Highway. The violation would be violation of ordinance 8-213-4, which is to sell beer to a person under the age of 21. There was one prior violation of this store back in April of 2009. Well, April 2009, I believe, is when this body took action on that violation, and it was for the same violation.
Oh, we got there.
Well, I think hopefully now, Mr. Jenks, you would invite the permit holder to address the council or his or her representative if they have anything to do.
Is there a representative present here from Milo Market number 3 on 1154 East AJ Highway?
My name is Pat Taylor. This was in 2009, the last violation. I'll be honest with you, there is no excuse. We don't tolerate it. We don't promote it. I apologize. We'll do better. I'm sure it's going to happen again. But there's no excuse. There is a lot of turnover in the convenience store business. They go through the tips training, and it's not like we don't talk about it regularly. But we are guilty. They're fine.
Is that employee still working?
No, sir. Terminated. A little week now of that.
This is your second offense.
On that one location.
Mr. Jenks, the options before the council would be suspension for a period of time, revocation. If it's a suspension or revocation, the council has an additional option to say in lieu of that suspension or revocation going into effect, you can impose a civil penalty of up to $1,500. And then that's a choice that the permit holder can make. And it has to be made within 7 days. They have to make the payment within 7 days.
I wouldn't say either or.
Well, you would need to either have a suspension or revocation in order to have an in lieu of that punishment, a civil penalty. So it follows up. You would have to find that they should be, the permit should be suspended or revoked. And in lieu of doing that, you give the owner, this is your option, you give the owner of the permit a right to pay a civil penalty in the amount you determine for the period of time.
Started. Mr. Taylor, do you have anything else to add?
No, sir.
Like Mr. Taylor's saying, and he understands it as well as we do as a beer license. Beer license is just like your driving license, it's a privilege. We sit here as a council, and I'm sure that you love our youth too. I'm sure that you know that you do everything you said you do. You're an honest man and a good citizen. But it is not to the best of our interests for our police department to have to to do these things, which is unnecessary if that is conducted according to the rules. And the trained person doing that, maybe they need retraining, or maybe they need re-advising more regularly from their supervisor, which either are or not given. But it's sad to us knowing that our youth this is just one time that caught. We don't know if that person was doing that over and over again. But happens to be that the police caught him that time. I would recommend a 30-day suspension or a $1,500 fine.
Bylaws number 6, you're marking also.
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to determine something.
Is that a motion?
Yeah.
What was your
In the
motion?
form of a motion?
And leave a 30 days, or a $1,500 fine, which would be paid within 7 days if we decide to pay the fine.
That's fine. Technically, the city can't impose a fine of more than $50, but you can impose a civil penalty, so the record would reflect that.
Reflect the civil penalty of $1,500.
Yes, okay. So the motion, thank you. The motion is, at this point, to have a penalty of suspension of license for 30 days. All right. And that's in the form of a motion. All right. So we have a second.
Civil penalty of $1,500.
Yes. Or civil penalty of $1,500.
In lieu of.
In lieu of the, do you understand what we're saying?
Yes, sir. It's,
30 days suspension, and if you don't want 30 days suspension on your business, then you have to pay $1,500.
Within 7 days.
Within 7 days.
Yes, it's one or the other.
It's one or the other, is where it would be.
take 30-day suspension, he pays the fine.
That's right.
All right, let me say this. We have 14 locations across 5 counties that we have beer licenses. And I know it's disappointing. It's disappointing to us that it happens. Very disappointing. And I know it don't look good. We don't like it. This is 2 locations out of those 14. They say that. And I'm more than happy to pay the fine. Not happy, but I understand. And that's what we will do. Now, the other location, which is 506, the next one, if I'm correct, the fine might be $500 for the first incident. Might be correct me on that.
Actually, and I'm sorry, I didn't get your name.
My name's Pat Taylor.
Mr. Taylor,
Yes,
for all violations of beer ordinance, other than selling to a minor, the maximum civil penalty is $1,000. For selling to a minor, it is $1,500, and there is no set rule about first offenses. That would be discretionary with the council.
While I'm here, I was cover both locations.
Let's go ahead.
Excuse me just now,
Y'all, you'll need to vote on this
We have to
first.
vote.
You have a motion with
We
no
have to vote
second.
on the motion. The motion on the floor is for civil penalty of $1,500. I'm not, a suspension of license for 30 days, or civil penalty of $1,500 within 7 days. Is there, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion by council?